with the transient value of silver, and to be more highly estimated, are the wisdom, discipline, and understanding that come from Jehovah. PR 3. 13, 14. 8. 10, 19. 16. 16 Also, the scriptures use silver in a number of symbolic senses. EC 12. 6. ISA 60. 17. DA 2. 32. 1 Co 3. 12. Siamese semi-middle dot on hearing. 1. The second of Jacob's 12 sons. So named because, as his mother Leah said, Jehovah has listened, in that I was hated and so he gave me also this one. GE 29. 32, 33. 35. 23-26. 48. 5. X1. 1-4. 1ch2. 1, 2. When his father Jacob was encamped near Shechem, Simeon, together with his next younger brother Levi, displayed a vengeful anger that was unreasonably harsh and cruel. Arbitrarily, without their father's knowledge or consent, they set about avenging the honor of their younger sister Dinah by slaughtering the Shechemites, bringing ostracism upon Jacob's whole family. GE 34. 1-31. Simeon was later involved in wrongdoing when he and his brothers planned to kill Joseph. GE 37. 12-28, 36 Whether Simeon, as second oldest, was or was not the ringleader in this plot on Joseph's life is not stated. Years later, when Joseph as food administrator of Egypt was testing out his brothers, Simeon was selected by Joseph to be bound and imprisoned until the other brothers brought Benjamin down to Egypt. GE 42. 14-24, 34-36. 43. 15, 23. Shortly before Jacob's death, when blessing his sons, Jacob recalled with disapproval the violence of Simeon and Levi in connection with the Shechemites many years earlier, saying, "Instruments of violence are their slaughter weapons. Into their intimate group do not come, O my soul." With their congregation O textoi acute miritra longo. Toward the end of the 1st century CE, the resurrected Jesus Christ in a very touching way showed keen interest in his anointed followers still on earth. How? By directing the aged apostle John to write letters to the 7 congregations that were in the district of Asia. Re 1. 1-4 Those letters contained much needed encouragement, counsel, and warning. Today, only ruins are found on the sites of most of the cities where those congregations were located. Yet, these give evidence that what was written deals with real places, actual situations, and people who truly lived. Of even greater interest, however, is the fact that these messages pointed to conditions that would exist at a future time in the Christian congregation. Congregations of Revelation ruins of Ephesus. Some Christians in this materialistic city lost the love for Jehovah that they had at first reconstructed altar to Zeus from Pergamum. Christians in Pergamum were tested in regard to giving worship exclusively to Jehovah. 945 Pergamum, Thyatira, Sardis, Smyrna, Philadelphia, Ephesus, Laodicea, Patmos, Smyrna now called Izmir. Early Christians here, though thrown into prison, were urged not to be afraid. Those in Philadelphia at the head of a long valley that led west to Smyrna, though they had already endured, were also urged to keep holding fast what they had Thyatira now called Akissa, columns and arches of a colonnaded street. Some early Christians in Thyatira, although sharing in good works, foolishly got involved in immoral conduct. Sardis, ruins of the Temple of Artemis. Not all Christians here were truly alive spiritually. Laodicea. Christians in this city were approved for being lukewarm, like the water that reached the city through its aqueduct. Jerusalem. Once the center of true worship of Jehovah God, but no longer the city bearing God's name. Jerusalem lost its privileged position after it apostatized from the teachings of God's word and rejected the Messiah, Jesus. Luke 13. 34, 35 To this day, however, Jerusalem is of keen interest to lovers of the Bible, because events of universal importance took place there. An aerial view of the city from the south such as the one on this page shows features of Jerusalem in relation to one another. Mount Moriah, where the temple was located, is in the background. In the foreground is Mount Zion, bounded by the torrent valley of Kidron on the east and the Tyropian valley on the west. The city of David was built on Mount Zion. Standing on the Mount of Olives to the east of Jerusalem, a person can look across the Kidron Valley and see the site where the temple once stood. Now it is dominated by a Muslim shrine known as the Dome of the Rock. Jesus was sitting on the Mount of Olives with the temple in view when he gave his famous prophecy about the conclusion of the system of things. Mr. 13. 3. Mount 24. 3. In and around Jerusalem today 947, the temple site is seen from the Mount of Olives. In the foreground are the burial places of Jews who believed that someday the Messiah would appear here. The Holy Land model in Jerusalem is a model of what many believe represents the appearance of 1st century Jerusalem. The Garden Tomb right and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre below, 1st century tombs inside. Each is claimed by some to be the site of Jesus' burial. Damascus Gate, Jerusalem Street seen in the old part of Jerusalem. The Pool of Siloam, fed by the spring of Gihon through Hezekiah's tunnel. The Valley of Hinnom, which lay to the south